One of the hunting members off my old hunting lease changed his location for he's putting up a food plot. And so I told him I was going to go out and check on it today, and I decided to fly over and make a video for him. So what we're looking at right here is an area that was created quite a while ago. And you'll see these kind of like strips in there. There's 7 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And those were cut in there, it must be 20 plus years ago, when the original people that created this hunting lease were bird hunters. And that's what these like lanes were they had set up for bird hunting in there. So, and then down in the one on the bottom, you'll see I draw a blue line around it. That's the outline of his food plot that's all fenced in. And within that, you see the yellow lines around the square area. That's where he's got a feeder site in there. So we'll take off and go take a look at things here. Now we're heading west right now. Of course, and now we get to see a little bit of the sun flare. And you can see the fencing, and there's the gap right there where you go in. They call it a gap, not a gate. And coming down to over his food plot, and there's the fenced-in area where he's got a feeder. You notice the feeder. That's for set up for deer. And the food plot's 3 acres in size. I had a dual purpose here because I wanted to get down, to get up high and see a little bit of the very west end of our reservoir. I'm going up now, we're getting up, and you can see down through the trees, a reflection of water. There's like a drainage ditch that runs kind of kitty corner left and right through the frame. So we get up probably about 350, maybe 400 feet, and I do a little pan off to the left, and you can see a little bit of the right. You can just see a little bit of the reservoir off to the right there, a little bit of water in the brown area. Now, as we're panning to the left, you'll see like a light green path. I'm pointing it out right now. That's actually an old food plot that somebody put in maybe 10 years ago. Might have been a 1/4 acre in size. It's all kind of overgrown now. Now, the dark green area, then you see kind of running crossways through the video frame there. That's the very west boundary of this particular hunting lease. And then where the light green area starts on out is another hunting lease. Now you can start seeing the end of the reservoir, actually where the source of the water comes from, coming around. And the brown areas you see there, and the big area here, there was areas that they had sprayed herbicide probably several months ago now. And I was wanting to take a look from overhead to see what effect it was having. Now it was, and you can see along the shoreline too, it's spray. And they do this with helicopters. Now you can see the other green rectangle area. That's another food plot. That's about 3 acres in size. Then off on the horizon, you can see where our campsite is located. Actually, right in the center of the photo is another food plot. I don't have it marked, but it's just kind of shows up there. So we'll look down, and now you can see the whole, basically entire food plot there from up above. And if you look off to the left, you can see little clear areas. Those were old like trails that were bush hogged in quite a few years ago. And it's actually a kind of a path that runs along the bottom of those lanes where you can get through there with a four-wheeler. So we'll drop down here a little bit closer so you get a better view. I want to make sure I got a little detail for his food plot. He had just moved in here, and I don't think probably about a week ago. So this whole area is all new to him. Now as we get closer, you can see some of the tracks like off to the left to that trail. And actually I had just driven through there with him about a week ago, so those are probably my tracks in the grass. And way down in the very lower right corner, you can see a little box area. That's actually a little fenced-in area where some previous member had a feeder there before. I don't know whether it was meant to be a hog feeder or a deer feeder. Being that small, I would have to believe it was probably for wild hogs. Now we'll just kind of pan over towards the east. There you can see where his deer feeder is, and see it's fenced in, and you see the little green box in the center. That's his feeder. Got a lot of work's going to have to do to get the food plot prepped. There's some really tall weeds and stuff that have taken over. Previous member didn't maintain it at all. Now you see it looks like a road. Actually, that was part of a fire break they cut several months ago to do a burn in this area. Kind of comes off dead ends here in the woods. And you'll see another clear area coming up there. And that's another old food plot. Just under those trees, almost to the center, you can see the roof, I think, of his box blind he just put over there. And this might have been about an acre in size. And I think that dark shadow might be his feeder they put in there. We're traveling east now. And actually this area we're going over now, there's another drainage area in there. So that would be real wet and nasty trying to get through. And then you can see some other little trails and stuff and been cut through. Now this looks like a road crossing through here. That's another one of the fire breaks that they had cut in, because they burned all this area to the left of that. And that was just in too much time. You can see it's starting to get growed in. Now the white sandy area, that's a road, and the other one peeling off there at an angle, that's another path that goes over to the woods towards where his food plot is. We'll look up, and now you can see the water and how wet it is back there on the other side of his woods, and see the reservoir again. And we'll swing around and come back and land. There you can see where I am setting on my truck down there at the end of one of those little clearings. And you can see how that road goes all the way out and stops in, it tees into another main road that cuts across the hunting property. I'd had a few little minor glitches with the drone. It's getting a little jerky. I wasn't sure whether the winds were doing it or the gimbal was starting to have some problems. In fact, at one time, and I cut that out, the gimbal camera actually kind of flipped sideways on me. So we come sailing right in here. I said where I'm standing, where the truck's parked, and that had been a fire break that cut through there. Like I said, about 2 months ago, and it was pretty rough. I mean, they used some pretty huge disc. So I'm trying to find a somewhat level spot to land this thing in, and keep it out of the tall weeds, and so it can land without flipping over. So this is our flight for the day. Hope you enjoyed it.